Hello again. We are on section 2.6.1, angle review. So this section, this video is just going to be a quick review of angles. It's been a little while since we talked about angles. We're going to refresh your memory about different types of angles, vertical angles, supplementary angles, linear pair, that sort of thing. Our warm-up actually starts with a kind of cool quilting one where it says a quilter wants to duplicate this quilt right here, that pattern, but only knows a measure of two angles. And then the question asks, what are the measures of angles 1, 2, 3, and 4? So if we look at it, I know this one is 90 because that's what that box stands for. This one's 60 because it says it's 60. If I look at angle 1, I know those three together add up to 180 because there's 180 degrees in a line. So like, okay, I can figure out angle 1 because I know angle 1 plus the 60-degree angle plus the 90-degree angle. I know that should be 180 degrees because there's 180 degrees in a line. And I could use that to figure out angle 1, right? Those are called supplementary angles, by the way. When angles add up to a line, they're called supplementary. We could do this really quick. Angle 1 plus, that's 150, combining the 60 and 90 is 180. And then you subtract 150 from both sides. Angle 1 must be 30 degrees. Okay? And we can do similar things to find 2, 3, and 4. A faster way, though, actually is this. Now that I know angle 1 is 30 degrees, I can find angle 4. You notice how they are across from each other when those lines intersect. Those are given names. Those are called vertical angles. And vertical angles are always, always, always congruent. So really quickly, if I know 1, I also know 4. It's also going to be 30 degrees. In fact, I can do that with all the other angles I'm missing. Over here, angle 3, well, if I do a red line here and a red line there, angle 3 into that 60-degree angle, they're across from each other. We can do a better red line. There we go. They're across from each other when two lines intersect, like that. So those are also equal. Those are vertical angles. So angle 3 would also equal 60 degrees. And then the last one I haven't done yet is angle 2. But if I do this pink line here, and that pink line there, I can see angle 2 and that 90 degrees are across from each other. So they must be vertical, so they must be equal. There they are. So today's just going to be a review about those different types of angles, some vocabulary that we should know but may have forgotten. It shouldn't be too bad of a lesson. It should be pretty quick. So angle review. How can I use what I know about known angle measures to find unknown angle measures? All right. We're starting with angles 1 and 4 in the picture. They should look familiar. If you're not sure, here's a hint. Two lines intersect, and they're across from each other. They're given a name. I've already said it a few times. Angle 1 and angle 4 are called vertical angles. Vertical angles are always congruent. So these types of angles are always congruent. Congruent again means equal. All right, let's look at some other types of angles. Angle 1, 2, and 3. So these three together. Hey, look at that. Notice how those three together form a line? We talked about that in our warm-up. When that happens, they always add to 180. So these types of angles always sum to 180 degrees. And they're given a specific name when that happens. They're called supplementary or supplementary angles. All right, let's keep moving. Angles 1 and 5. You'll notice those two form a line as well. So we know those will sum to 180 just like anything else. These type of angles always sum to 180 degrees. Anytime you have angles forming a line, they sum to 180. We could call them supplementary angles. They sum to 180. Those are supplementary. When it's just two of them that form a line, sometimes we give it a special name. Sometimes we call it a linear pair. So I'm going to write linear pair this time because that's going to be just a new word to make sure we need to know. But you can call them supplementary. It means the same thing. You should know what linear pair means in case it shows up on a test, right? Hey, are these a linear pair? You say, yeah, those are two angles that sum to 180. All right. So the only difference between linear pair and supplementary And supplementary is just any combination of angles that add up to 180. There could be 3 of them. They could be all separate places. A linear pair is specifically 2 angles, and they together form a line, which will be 180 degrees as well. All right, next one, angles 3 and 4. Okay, so we notice this is definitely a 90-degree angle because that one was 90, so that they add to 180. I probably should have had that in the picture, but I didn't. I'm going to add that now in black. All right. So those 2 angles together add up to 90 degrees. When that happens, they're given a special name. They're called complementary. Complementary angles. Complementary angles always sum to 90 degrees. So anytime you have 2 angles that add up to 90, they're complementary. All right, next one says, I know angle SPT and LPT I know angle SPT is equal to angle LPT because of the blank in the picture. So here's SPT. Here's TPL or LTP. And I know they're equal because of those little markings, right? If that ever happens, we know we have equal angles. We call those tick marks. Moving on to the last one. Since ray PT cuts angle SPL exactly in half, it's given a special name. So this ray cuts that angle exactly in half. When that happens, it's called an angle bisector. There we go, angle bisector. Bi means 2, sect means cut, so an angle bisector cuts an angle exactly in half. So that ray cut that angle exactly in half. All right, 2 quick examples, and then your video lesson is done. Example, find x. So on your homework today, you're going to have some questions that just ask, like, what is an angle bisector? And you just write it out. And others are going to be like this, where you have to figure it out. So I can look at this and say, well, I know that's 110. So I can figure this one out right here, because I know that the 2 of those together form a line, which is 180. So let's see, 110 plus 70. That's 180. So I know that angle is 70. But if I know that angle, then I also know angle 2 because of those tick marks. So angle 2 is 70. And if angle 2 is 70, that means angle x must also be 70. Do you see why? They're given a special name. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are always the same. Since this x and that 2 are across from each other, when 2 lines intersect, they're vertical angles, and vertical angles are always the same. There we go, found x. Let's do one more. All right, this one has a little bit more information. It says angle LAN and angle CAN are complementary. Complementary again means adds to 90. So let's just make sure we know which ones we're talking about. LAN is this one. CAN is, hold on. CAN, that one. I know those 2 are complementary. Forgot my L in complementary. I gotta add that in there, or it's gonna bother me. There we go, complementary. And I know they're complementary, so I know they add to 90 degrees. Well, if one of them is 75, let's see here, 90 minus 75, the other one's gonna have to be 15. I'm gonna need 15 more degrees so that it adds up to 90. There we go. All right, so if I know that pink angle's at 15 degrees, I definitely know x is also 15 degrees. Again, because we've got vertical angles there. Here's one line in red, there's another line in red. That 15 and that x, they're across from each other. Vertical angles, always the same. X is 15. All right, that's it. Your assignment is a worksheet, worksheet 2.6.1. Give it a shot. See you later.